Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Nostalgic.
And I'm RareWarington.
And welcome to a new episode of Kooky Questions, the show where we embark on a quest in reviewing and discussing various gaming topics and news. We have a pretty surprising episode here for you today, so what is going to be our quest today, Sam?
Yeah, it's a pretty exciting one today, Drew. We're actually going to be discussing the recent Starfox Direct that was kind of thrust upon us a little over a week ago. I think it was 10 minutes prior to the Direct that Nintendo actually tweeted about it. But yeah, super exciting, and it should be a fun one today, Drew.
I really think it should be fun as well. I mean, like, it's kind of funny. Miyamoto has kind of made a thing for himself. It's just like the whole, like, starting all his tweets with, "This is Miyamoto." And then when it starts that way, it's like, oh man, what's he going to say today? And what he had to say today was like, there's a Starfox Direct in 10 minutes. Like, think fast, you know? And all these like various like content creators, all these streamers, like, I don't know, you know, getting all their stuff together to watch it. And even me and myself, I was just with my family at some school thing, and I would just happen to pull up my phone for a second, like, what? Starfox? When did this become a thing? And like, I watched some of it as it was playing and all that, and yeah, it was a fun surprise. Although the one that was, I mean, it did definitely have some leakage beforehand there.
Yeah, you were saying just prior to the recording today too that like it's almost like Nintendo was kind of just trying to have a foot ahead of the leakers, kind of talking about remake. And now Ocarina of Time is also in the rumor mill, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, with Star Fox, very unexpected, man, and really cool. I mean, it makes sense now in hindsight, especially with how they opened the Star Fox Direct, that with Star Fox's recent inclusion as a character in the Mario Galaxy movie, that it's kind of like just a pre-promo for the stuff they're kind of like expecting to do or planning to do with the franchise.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw the same thing with Donkey Kong. Of course, Donkey Kong was in the Mario Brothers movie. We have Donkey Kong Bonanza a few years later. Star Fox even shorter after the movie that he was in there. And now it's just kind of thing, okay, we keep our eyes on the next Mario movie, so whatever other long-time franchise has been dormant, so just put Banjo-Kazooie in the next Mario movie.
Yeah, get Microsoft and Rare to sign off, please. But yeah, like jokes aside though, like I think the first thing that hit me was not only the like, you know, this, like we said, the strangeness of like kind of the urgency and the lack of notice before the Direct started, but I think the first thing that hit most people, and it has kind of been the talk of the town regarding the new Star Fox announcement lately, are the new character designs, man.
Yes.
What did you think about the new character designs, Drew?
You know, at the very first, well, a couple things, like before we get into the designs, like when they first like said, like they said Starfox 64, and like I did roll my eyes for a second. There was like, that's like the stereotype that Nintendo just keeps redoing the same over and over again. When you look back, it's not quite that stereotype, but still, I mean, you hear Starfox 64, and then like there starts that cool cutscenes. You see their R-wings. Oh, this is looking really cool. This is looking real realistic. I'll admit though, I was taking it back just for a second when I just saw Starfox there, because that's a very different kind of presentation that we saw just with the Mario Galaxy movie. Now, and no, these are different formats, you know, but still, like, we just had those like that very cool design that I liked a lot, and then this one here that's like, it took me a little bit getting used to, but the more I've seen it, the more I've like kind of think about it. I've gotten to like it more and more, actually. Just because it does in a way like harken back to those original designs, like harkens back a little bit to the original puppets with the SNES box art that you see in some promotionals and such, and it does actually call back to some of those designs. And even the original designer of Star Fox himself was kind of talking about how this is kind of maybe a little more what I pictured in my own mind here. So yeah, I'm kind of on board with it right now. Sam, have you frozen on us? Are you gone?
Am I unfrozen? Are we good? Are we back?
Yes, we are back now.
Anyway, but yeah, like I kind of agree with what you were saying there, Drew. Like my first impressions of the characters, like at this point now, as of recording, like I've come around to them. Like I really like the realistic, for lack of a better term, kind of like the Rango-esque take of kind of the realistic, but yet still cartoony and anthropomorphic animals. But yeah, and like you said, it kind of harkens back to that box art and like the promotional puppet material for the Super Nintendo entry of Star Fox, like the first Star Fox game. And yeah, and like despite what people say, it's a debate on like social media there and all the Nintendo discussion spaces. But like for better or worse, it's new and it's talk of the town. It's very impactful, like we were saying, and I personally am coming around to it. Katt, however. We'll put up a picture. I was
actually just thinking.
We'll put up a picture of Katt on screen here, folks. So shield your eyes for the faint of heart. But so Katt is a different take on the character. Granted, there wasn't like a whole lot of like character traits set in stone besides like pink Katt, but and like she had that cool theme song, which I'm sure they'll retain. But yeah, as far as the character goes, like I've seen a defense now, and I'll put like a little bit on screen here of like a source defense of Katt, the character, like kind of being a hardened criminal. A lot of like the actual lore recorded is that she is a criminal. She kind of is almost like a Catwoman-esque character, and she's had like a rough life and is kind of like a rogue.
Here is pretty much everything we know about Katt. Number 1, she's a mercenary, and a lone mercenary at that. No team, no Great Fox Starbase, it's just her and her fighter freelancing in the galaxy. Number 2, she's a former criminal, someone who used to run with the Free as a Bird gang back in the day, along with Falco, and that's how they know each other.
So like, in that sense, it makes some sense, and maybe it will grow on me, but I don't know. Initial reaction was kind of like, yikes, falling on hard times.
I'm kind of that definitely comes across that way. Like I think with both with like the more realistic grit, kind of like that background, like her being a hardened criminal, like you said there, and yeah, it makes sense to make that kind of adjustment. Though it's definitely by far the most drastic change out of all of the characters we've seen so far with Star Fox 64 and all that. And I although I can't help but wonder like what they're going to do with some of those previous lines. Like, are they going to change it? Because it seems like a complete personality change. Like, let's be real here. Like, beautiful, I could kiss you for that, or like, you trying to damage my pretty little face. I'm just kind of wondering. Like, I'm not sure that they'll be exactly fitting with this new version here. But going into, of course, we have these new character designs, but we also have like what's looking to be a very upgraded story and presentation here. Of course, the original story like still intact in a lot of ways, but they're going to be expanding with cutscenes like in between missions. They showed a prologue that showed the original what happened with James McCloud and his team, Pigma betraying them, and that was just some really good stuff there.
Yeah, that actually, we talked about this prior, but like, yeah, that had me really excited. Like, and that kind of brings up like our past, like with the franchise, and namely for me, and I think relatable for you, Star Fox 64 was actually my first experience with Star Fox. Yeah, man, like I absolutely love that game, and like we joke, like we said initially about like, oh, you said you kind of rolled your eyes, oh yeah, another remake of 64. People joke like, oh, we'll have 64 remakes of Star Fox 64. But I mean, at this point, it seems like it's more or less like a service to fans, a fan service, if you will. Like,
it is.
I mean, at this point, it's kind of like you said, they're kind of like changing the dialogue up a little bit. So things that we've heard dozens and dozens of times over that we've since memorized will be a new, fresh take. The James McCloud, as you said, the character interactions and cutscenes are amazing and looking to have a lot of potential. But specifically, James McCloud and the betrayal with Pigma before he joined Starwolf team. Yeah, man. There hasn't been a whole lot. It's actually been kind of a vague teasing kind of sense that Nintendo's revealed that information, but like maybe there will be more gameplay. There's now rumors, which I'll put some source up here, of customizations to the R-Wing as you play through, having incentive to go back and do new routes and work off of things you can unlock with the R-Wing past like how it used to be with like just the laser upgrade via collectible. So yeah, really exciting here, and a lot and like potential story stuff that I'm just, again, as a 64 fan and someone that played hours and hours and hours of 64, just a great experience. I wonder what the time duration will be as well, like given that 64 was kind of a nice game that I'm sure you can attest to this as well, Drew, that you could just kind of pick up an afternoon, play a little bit. You don't have to really commit to a long story or anything, and you could just have a new fresh run through of a decently digestible game. And yeah, I wonder how they'll tackle that here coming onto the new entry.
I'm very much wondering that too, and yes, I very much grew up with Starfox 64. Of course, I remember. I think the first time I saw it was, of course, in like some kind of video game booth. I was like, "Whoa, this is so cool!" The graphics were like looked so amazing back then.
Yes.
And one particular memory I have actually is that when I saw a booth, I was at a Sears with my grandpa, and there was a kid coming up to it, and I was not my best self, and I guess I kind of slightly nudged him to the side and grabbed the controller myself, and my grandpa like took me away from it because I was, to teach me a lesson, to don't be rude, and all that. But man, I when I played that game, and especially once I did get my own Nintendo 64, Star Fox 64 was one of the very first games I got. It was really the first game I played that had a lot of spoken dialogue. I didn't know that there was like spoken dialogue in games beforehand, like with some with PlayStation or some PC games, but this was really the first one where it's like there's just a lot of voice work here and a lot of these fun, campy, quotable lines that you hear all throughout it that become absolutely iconic to this day. And even there's just even back then with just the basics they had with this, you could feel a little bit of the heart of the storytelling. This was like a team, and it actually kind of felt a little bit like family. Like even after that first mission, because they stay for like, Peppy, you're becoming more like your father. I'm fine. You okay over there, Fox? And it's just like, okay, these people care about each other, and I like that camaraderie and that friendship there. So, and I think that the potential with remake, you can just expand that and make that even stronger. And I think a big part of that in terms of expanding that is the updates to the music here. And why don't you go ahead and talk about that for a bit here, Sam?
Yeah, like Drew was saying, the music, which you can also, like, as we have already, sample on the Nintendo Music app. They've released 10 tracks as an early sort of little sample of like what's to come as far as the soundtrack goes. And man, thus far already, like hearing Mateo and hearing, for me, actually, it was the title screen that it just sort of hit me. And I'm just like, I was kind of just in this new, almost more somber approach as far as the instrumental arrangement goes. And just the quality of sound here, obviously being some 25 years later. But yeah, it kind of just transported me back to my childhood, like to Saturday morning, just after watching some cartoons, wanting a game just to play really quick, booting up the 64 and starting Star Fox, and your mom making you like a peanut butter and jelly. And I don't know, man, just if that's any testament to how the game is going to feel, I'll probably be as an old head Nintendo fan and Star Fox 64 entrepreneur myself, I'll definitely be loving it, I feel like, and it hit me right in the feels. And like you said, the character interaction potential, I mean, I'm eager to see how they handle when the Great Fox is flying off at the end of the game and the characters are running. How will they retain that? Will they change it up?
Yeah.
A very iconic ending, but for me, it was like still to this day, like we have things like Adventure and Assault Commando, but that was sort of sensation of like, man, just like overwhelming potential of like these characters. As you said, the team is like a family dynamic, even like older brother, little brother, older almost uncle and Peppy. But yeah, like I think it's that feeling of like this always had so much potential for more character interactions, more lore, and more of the adventures. And I even if this doesn't capitalize on it, I think it will to a small extent. But like I think sky's the limit right now as far as like what Nintendo will do with the character interactions and where Star Fox as a franchise will go after this entry. I'm really excited, man. Gotta say.
I'm very excited too, and like touching again on the music, yeah, that title screen music, I think that's definitely been my favorite of the selections there so far. It's just how it just updated it with just like that driving string in the background. You got the clarinets, you got the horns coming in. It starts to sound a bit like a Marvel theme, as it keeps going on. And even just again, just that ending theme with mission complete and just that da 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 da. And even as a kid, like when you hear the kids talking, you hear that music playing, it's just, again, just those themes, camaraderie, friendship, and just expanding those feelings even more in the music. And I am very much looking forward to hearing the expansion of all the tracks that we'll hear in the game and also listen to on the app there as well, I assume. But what do you guys think? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to go ahead and drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We want to give a big shout out to all of you because this channel actually a few months ago hit over 100 subscribers, and we can't thank you all enough for the support.
Yeah, we had a couple months sort of vacation. It was just really trying to, after starting out on Drew's channel and moving to this awesome channel with this awesome community and all the support that like now more than ever we really appreciate. We just kind of wanted to coordinate between the two of us where we wanted to move forward with the channel. And we now have some things from even prior, a lot of things planned in the pipeline and a lot of things that we're really excited to do together. And we really appreciate you, Kooky Crew, and we're excited to do more. If you guys want to join the Kooky Crew Discord server, a link will be in the description below. And thank you guys so much. From me, Drew, and the Kooky Crew, have a good one, guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.